It feels as though sometimes these things are implied, but again, if you take your language wherever you are in the world, as a child, it was a necessity that you began to understand and begin to be able to communicate with those around you. It wasn't just a light happening, it was a necessity. For you were crying, you were in discomfort, you were in dismay. It was a traumatic experience as you tried to interact with those around you, those big beings, those big bodies, and to your smaller body around you. And it was difficult. It was traumatic. And it became a priority that you were able to communicate, and therefore you developed a ground for the language that was being used, the level of the types of interaction and communication that was being used, and you began to be able to communicate yourself through those interactions. Hey, conscious creators. In today's session, Abraham discusses how knowledge flows through you. They discuss how necessity pulls the flow of understanding. And they discuss why you must establish a ground for learning. If you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe, like the video, comment if you're inspired to do so. And also click the bell notification so that you're alerted whenever new videos are uploaded. I upload a new video Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And know that our single goal is to support you in accelerating your ability to experience the life that you desire. But that requires that you work at the cause of your being and not at the level of any specific manifestation. And lastly, check the description. Check the description for the free training, I Am the Discourse. This free training was created to support you in establishing a firm foundation in who and what you truly are. This foundation is the starting point to manifestation. This foundation is the starting point to the experience of all that you've ever desired in life. We are excited that you're here, and we look forward to supporting you. Let's jump into today's session. The greatest insights. Do you know that the greatest insights come from within? Yes. All of your learning, all of your understanding, your higher level interpretations of life, they are not given to you. They flow through you. All experience does, whether you are attending a lecture, whether you are reading information in a book, watching a video, this information, the experience that was created for you, merely brings to light that which is already inside of you. And the understanding that ensues from this awareness is a flowing through you. It's not an impressing upon you. For there are areas of study, areas of understanding on your planet that if you were introduced to, you would have no way to interpret it. Take a language. Take a foreign language. This language is spoken around you, and you have no ground for the understanding, for the interpretation, and therefore you cannot interpret it. You cannot perceive or understand it as others do. However, if you spend enough time, immerse yourself in it, you declare it to be important, you declare it to be a priority, you will eventually develop a ground of understanding for it on which the full knowledge of the subject will begin to birth and be born and be brought into fruition out of that ground, that foundational ground of understanding, which you established because you made it a priority, because you made it important to you. It feels as though sometimes these things are implied, but again, if you take your language wherever you are in the world, as a child, it was a necessity that you began to understand and begin to be able to communicate with those around you. It wasn't just a light happening, it was a necessity. For you were crying, you were in discomfort, you were in dismay. It was a traumatic experience as you tried to interact with those around you, those big beings, those big bodies, and to your smaller body around you. And it was difficult. It was traumatic. And it became a priority that you were able to communicate, and therefore you developed a ground for the
language that was being used, the level of the types of interaction and communication that was being used, and you began to be able to communicate yourself through those interactions because of the necessity of it. And this is how you could go about learning a language. Make it a necessity, make it a priority, make it a traumatic event that you can't interpret, understand, and communicate to individuals who are using a different language. And in so doing, you will develop a ground. You will call forth a ground of understanding from which the ability to interpret and express yourself in that language will be born. Again, for this is how you learned your current native language. And so it is with any ground of understanding. With this understanding, some of you believe that your ground for this understanding, for this knowledge, for the allowing in of a non-physical communication is born of this lifetime, and it's not. The foundation, the ground for this acceptance and allowance was started many lifetimes ago. You are just now the beneficiary of the ground that has been established. Look around. So many on your planet are not ready for this information, are not prepared, are not willing to accept this information, and yet you are. It's because your ground was started a long time ago, and theirs is still forming. So understand that learning is an inward expression. It's not an external impression. Learning is the result of having developed a ground out of necessity and priority, and then the levels of interpretation that you establish, that you accomplish, are the result of the depth that you pull. Not the depth that is sown into you, but the depth that you pull because of you are continually holding it as a priority, as important for you. Math, all of your educational studies, your math, your sciences, your history. Some of you delve into a certain area because you have to. Some of you delve into a certain area because you desire to. And when you're excited and your desire is high for understanding, you pull it and you go deeper in your claiming of your understanding of it. It's a mistake. It's a misinterpretation to think that learning is sown into you. It's not sown into you. Nothing is sown into you. Everything is expressed by you, is born of you. You have to understand that. That is incredibly empowering for the individual being who is human, that is walking physically. All things come through you. There is no separation between you and source. There is no separation between you and the one mind that exists within source. There is no separation, and all things are born of you. You are a creator. You are powerful. It's time that you know that. It's time that you understand that. It's time you begin to live your life from that space, free of conditioning. And we are here to support you in that endeavor. We are thankful, grateful for the opportunity to share. We're thankful for the vessel. We're thankful for each of you offering fertile ground for these transmissions. We are here for you from our now non-physical perspective, offering that which we know to be true, offering that which we know will transform your life. We honor you. We celebrate you. And we love you. We love you. We love you. Thank you.